What the hell, Cletus? Yeah, I think all y'all Uncle Ruckus has got some HOAS syndrome. So let's talk about gender affirming care. Laws for gender affirming care. Let's say your kid got cancer, and it's a melanoma that just isn't covered by your insurance. Well, the government ain't gonna pick up the tab. Your insurance was supposed to cover that. Well, this is life-threatening, ain't it? Well, how about gender affirmation? How about giving a 5-year-old an artificial penis? You're gonna go and take a girl who's going through puberty, and you're going to mutilate her body. No breasts. She's got to have a penis. So you have to lop them off me in the addictomy. And lo and behold, what happens? Well, now you're being treated like a man, and you're the most likely person in America to attempt suicide or commit suicide. All because you thought it would be easier as a boy and realized on the first day that it's not. Men are treated fucking horribly. You got no idea until you've been there. And then once you've been there, you still think we should all give you gender affirming care. Who's paying for that gender affirming care? Is that 13-year-old girl who wants to be a boy paying for that? Is that 5-year-old boy who wants to become a girl paying for that? Who's paying for it? Is a 5-year-old capable of making that decision? What's next? We got a 5-year-old who decides that he wants to identify as a dragon, so we have to make an animatronic suit and grow a whole bunch of extra skin for him and use all of these little marks and measures of our scientific prowess to turn a little boy into a dragon? I mean, sure, we got the cosmetics to make it look so. Sure, he'll never be a dragon, but he'll look like one, and that's gender affirmation. You know what? You put on a plastic dick, you're still not a dude. Alright? You chop yours off and slice a giant gash between your legs, that's not going to make you a woman. Plain and simple, you can't have kids. You cannot inseminate a woman if you are a woman who has transitioned to a man. You also can't have children if you're a woman who's transitioned to a man, because you no longer have that equipment. You've got facsimiles thereof. It's not a real penis. Even if someone died and donated to you their penis, see, that's something we could have, a genitalia exchange program. We'll just put your parts on the freeze, you know? You happen to be a woman who wants to be a man? Well, fine. Just take one of those men who wanted to become a woman, take his penis off the shelf or out of the freezer and add that to you, right? Just hope that grafts on the way that another person's arm or finger or toe. I'm not sure how many different parts have been grafted onto other human beings, but it's quite a few. Most of our parts have been grafted to another human being at some point in the last 20 years. It's not just external organs like the skin, and yes, the skin is an organ. It's also internal organs like kidneys, hearts, Yup. Even the heart. Now, when we're talking about gender affirmation, you can have another person's parts put in there. If you get a man's penis and all of the internal workings all attached up so that you can have a kid, or so that you can do that. The first thing is, when you're 5, you don't know what you are sexually. You just know what your interests are, and you know what gender roles are, and it's easy to get that pushed on you. It's easy to go, oh, well, I like food, I like cooking, so I must be a woman. To a 5-year-old, yeah, it is real easy to pull shit like that, but it's a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old who's not going to pay to get a new penis or vagina. That's right. And the child's not going to pay for that. So who is expected to pay for it? Well, we fight for these rights for children. How about the right of a child to have some goddamn food? All right. How about the right of a child to actually safely go home without fear of abuse? How about a child's right to proper medical care? And that don't include chopping up people's parts and putting them on other people. That don't include having kids make such important decisions. There's a reason that we are held responsible for those children when they are ours until they turn 18. Yes, we are responsible to those children and for those children. I'm all for you deciding whatever you want to decide. I'm all for you being whatever you want to be. But at some point, we got to use our brains for what our brains are for. If I super glue a horn to my head, does that make me a unicorn? How about if I have a horn surgically, or it could be any part whatsoever. We'll say, can I have a horn surgically removed from a goat and planted into my forehead, and then does that magically make me a unicorn? Does that mean I can identify as a unicorn? How about if I get my skin tattooed all up like a leopard? Does that make me a leopard? Kids at 5 years old, 13-year-olds, even 17-year-olds are still busy doing the same thing as the you adults are doing, using their imaginations. Just that yours are far more developed and far more fine-tuned. Morning, Miss Faith.
Yep.
Morning, Miss.
Good morning.
How come everybody gets artificial hair but me?
Everybody gets what?
Artificial hair but me?
Alright. Someone will be with you in just a second.
Take your time. Are these all for me?
Just one, at least. At least one for you.
If only Starbucks did this when I was a kid, I would have grabbed that for show and tell.
Did you work at the fair? Yeah, I did. Yep. Did you do any eyes? I did not, unfortunately. Hey, now listen. I'm buying a house in Bay City. Yeah. You're still here next year. I'm going to sponsor you in the booth. I honestly might not be here next year. I know, that's what you said last year. This year's will be up, though. If you're still here, you're going. I can have the
Wait.
Where are you going to be next year? Santa Barbara? Santa Barbara? Hawaii?
You know what's weird to me? You got this little booth out here, kind of like it's in Hawaii or something like that, in the middle of the store. And then the little Starbucks area is actually that area right there.
I think it used to be, or will be, I'm not sure, I know.
Oh, it's cute and inventive. It is kind of Art Deco in a Asiatic kind of way, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun, I like it as far as like the whole property experience being Starbucks. But I heard you were actually going over there at some point. I don't know. I don't know where the other department that's in there will go. There's no this store is literally added to it.
It's small town dirt.
Yeah, so I have no idea what their plans are.
Alright, I'm not sure if I told you. I could try to tell everybody else just in case. I have Tourette syndrome. So if I wink at you, I'm not flirting with you, I'm not hitting on you. And if I do this with my wrist, that's also Tourette. Somebody put their garbage over here on your stuff, so I'm going to be kind enough to. And have a cigarette. Wow.
Do they put it in that big set?
Nope, just this one. That's alright, I'll take the half a cigarette. I like them. They're bad for me. They make me older and ring clear, and it makes me less attractive, and it means people are less likely to say stupid stuff to me. My uncle said to me, Sean, if you never have a crush on anybody, you'll never have a problem because people you're gonna say the stupidest stuff to, or people you have a crush on. I'm like, I say the stupid stuff that people I'm mad at.
Brandy? Have a wonderful day.
Get it ready.
You just go there. Oh, yeah.
Woohoo! Merci beaucoup. All right, I'll be right back for a refill.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything right now. I heard gossip, and I went, all right, I should probably go over there and tell those people not to gossip. Secrets don't make friends. There was actually something I didn't have that I was going to say. It seemed important at the time. Once I got up here, I was like, drama.
Thank you.
It's so good. I get so excited for the apple.
I saw a monkey do that on the Discovery Channel, and I always do that myself. Thank goodness I'm getting my fist stuck in an anthill. Hey, I got a question. You walk to work, and Miss Miriam had you sit down at a table, and her sister brought you food to the table. Would that weird you out? No?
I don't know. I don't. Why? Are you just curious?
No, because her and her sister and her mom have all served me dinner over one of the Christmas here. And then I walk in here, and every time I see one of them, I'm like, that's weird. They have real jobs. Thanks, ma'am. I don't think that's mine.
Oh, you don't think that's your receipt?
Nope, I'm certain that's not my receipt.
No. Yeah, this is Mel's. Oh, that's right.
But that's not what's in here. I can tell what's in there, and that's not that.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Do I have to?
Well, you don't have to, but I hope a great day. Nice to see you.
You too, Miss Miriam. I think it's nice being able to understand what y'all are saying, but it would sound way cooler if you did it in like Japanese or Korean or something. I said I like the fact that we can communicate and I can understand, but it would sound way cooler. Isn't Purdy a paintbrush company?
Huh?
Isn't Purdy a paintbrush company?
Alright, thanks guys.
No, it's gonna make you feel used, but I got everything I wanted from you. Now I'm leaving you. I said I know it's gonna make y'all feel used, but I got what I wanted from you, and now I'm leaving you. Right? Good morning. It's a beautiful morning. Wow.
You know that's the sound of a man working on the change. Yeah, yeah. You know that's the sound of a man working on the change. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my love, my darling, I'm here for you. Oh, fucking goddamn it. Alright, so my brain not quite working this morning. My back is hurting like a motherfucker. All the folks that work at Starbucks, nearly all of them, have been extremely good to me. Some of them have made mistakes because they don't understand stuff. Some of them are just complete and total dicks. But it depends on where you're at. Some of these folks, they know they live in a goddamn redneck town full of a bunch of goddamn ignorant fucking rednecks. So they know how to mind their P's and Q's. Some of them are ignorant rednecks. Some of them come from places that are worse than Tillamook. This shit ain't right. It ain't right that we're not allowed to stand up to our predators. It ain't right that the law protects the predators, not the victims. The sheer quantity of hell that you have to go through as a poor person who's been victimized. Nobody should have to go through that. When it comes to what parts you were born with, do we all get to pick and choose which parts we get? What if somebody wants longer fingers? What if somebody feels that they would have a better life if they had longer piano playing fingers? At what point are we going, hey, enough is enough? This is some bullshit. But no, we skipped over all the intermediate shit, didn't we? Yeah, we want artificial penises and artificial vaginas implanted in children for some odd goddamn reason. Why are there so many people for gender affirmation? Because these people see you as mentally ill. Oh, you wear women's clothing? Yeah, the people making the laws see you as mentally ill. Of course, they're going to be fine with you not breeding. Making that decision before you're ever old enough to make that decision. When you're 5 years old, how much of the world do you really fucking know about? Yeah, there's some kids like me who are exposed to a lot of fucked up shit at a very young age, but how many of your kids are exposed to that shit? Mandy Singer, she recorded herself. She wanted to... Well, first of all, there's lots of people that started recording after meeting me. Why wouldn't they? Mandy went through and listened to how she talked to her granddaughter and her grandson. She recorded herself and played it back. Because this is something that I was telling her, hey, this is something I need people to do. I need them to listen to the recordings between them and I. If they do that, maybe they'll rethink the way that they treated me. Well, she went and recorded herself, and after recording herself, she said, you know, I wouldn't listen to me either. It's because she realized she was yelling. She was automatically going to the yelling thing. That was her automatic go-to, to just yell at him. When you yell at somebody, they generally tone it out. They generally do not want to fucking listen to it. I've got a lot of videos where I scream and have panic attacks. I know why you don't listen to it. Doesn't make any sense why I should have to fucking yell at you to get your attention, because I said these things before I ever screamed them. I said them before I ever shouted them. I said them nicely before I ever cursed. But you guys don't want to pay any attention to it. It's okay to bully me, isn't it? But it's not okay for me to bully back. It's not okay for me to take a stand. It's not okay for me to defend myself. You're not going to fucking let me. That's the point of the mentally ill tag. Now let's take a look at Asperger's syndrome. And let's take a look at autism. Autistic traits in specific. As far as the doctor who wanted to help autism speaks, we had a lot of doctors who made a lot of progress in the 90s, even the late 80s. A lot of specialists really went to bat for us. Specifically high-functioning autistic people. Then they had this whole Asperger's thing where, hey, it's not autism, it's Asperger's. It's completely different. These people are highly intelligent. They don't fit in society because they're highly intelligent. They're being withheld from society. They're not being sheltered from society. They're being sheltered from learning any social skills. What social skills they do learn are how to run their goddamn mouths and fucking defend themselves. To stupid people, intelligent people seem like crazy people. You don't understand it, so it's either hoopla, magic, or what? Bullshit? No, science isn't bullshit. The great thing about science is that if you can prove that something's wrong, we'll fucking change it. Science is our way of understanding the world that we live in. We were given brains for a fucking reason. It's so we can use them for ourselves. Gender affirming care, I can understand to some degree, how people are for it. Maybe after you turn 18. But then, of course, we've ruined your chances of being a real woman and competing in women's athletics. Holy shit. Are you fucking kidding me? You've already decided that you're going to be a female athlete as a male at 5 years old, and this isn't just some fantasy? How many kids want to be fucking dragons or unicorns? Are we going to start making safe spaces for our children who want to be dragons and unicorns before we do something for the safety of victims of sexual assault, sexual abuse, incest? Most instances of child neglect are from the parents. Most instances of children being killed are from the parents. And most instances of child molestation are incest. It's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your cousin. Some fucking pervert who can't keep their nasty cockbeaters to themselves. Meanwhile, you don't give a shit about poor kids. You give a shit about a rich kid. A child who apparently has enough money to decide to change genders. It's not reversible. If you decide later on that you want to have kids, you can't. You can't. Maybe you can adopt, but you gotta fit some very specific criteria. The kind of criteria that you have to be crooked to be so perfect on paper. I'm disgusted by gender affirmation for children. As a child, there was a while there where I really wished that I was a woman. If I'd have been able to get that gender affirmation at the time, I probably would have become a woman at that point in time. But at that point in time, I didn't understand the full logistical error that I would have been making. And it's not because of breeding rights either. It's because I am what I am. When I was a kid, yeah, I had to listen to a lot of people who had their own ideas about shit, and some of their ideas were really fucked up. Now, if we're going to have gender affirming care for children so that a child born with a penis can become a female, well, we're not doing anything about the sheer quantity of murders being committed in this country. We're doing horrible things. I'm not against adults making adult decisions. What I'm against is forcing decisions like that on children who haven't even gone through any of the physiological changes that they're going to. Puberty is only a small step in that process. Your brain doesn't stop developing. By the time you're, 25? That's when your brain stops fully developing. At 25, that's the brains that you got. Now you can change your mind and change your decisions and change your life. Maybe you heard some saying that changed your life forever and you have done things differently. That's great. It's great that you had the opportunity. It's great that you had the ability. It's great that you had the support. For a lot of people out here, it's not a matter of them not being supportive. It's a matter of their not being supported. And it's difficult to help somebody else when you need help yourself and you're not getting it. When you're being sent around in the same circles as everyone else, and none of them are getting that assistance. Now, you guys have gotten to hear me complain about a lot of people out here on the streets that meant well, and a lot of people in houses that meant well. It's not their intentions that are the issue, it's their follow-through. And with many of these people, as you've gotten to see for yourself, their follow-through isn't because they're lazy people, or because they're evil people, or because they're hateful people. It's because all of their resources are spent jumping through the same hoops. All their gas spent jumping through the same hoops that I'm jumping through and getting nowhere. There's a lot of people who have sent me to people here in town that are their friends. And that's nice and all that. I understand that that's how small towns work. But that's not how they should. And people saying, oh, well, you can't change it, you can't change it, you can't change it. If you listen to those people, then they become right. You can't change it if you quit. If you were friends with a dangerous predator, and you thought he or she was all fine and dandy until they decided to be predatory towards you, you coming forward about that victimization doesn't make you a bad guy. Matter of fact, not coming forward is about the most disgusting thing you can do. Let's say your dad rapes you. You're the oldest of 4 siblings. Your dad's into girls and all 4 of you are girls. When you try telling your mom she's busy cooking, she doesn't really have the time and she's going to blow you off. For a lot of people, that's enough for them to quit right then and there. They're afraid to speak up because they're afraid that they'll get blown off. You notice I get blown off over and over and over again. People just talk over me. But then when you imagine your dad doing that shit to your little sisters, that right there is a major motivator. Just like it should have been a major motivator for your mom. Gender affirming care, huh? You think if you let your daughter become a boy that dad won't do something naughty? Just so you know, boys are molested often, very often, by the same exact people that molest girls. Most of the time, it's our mom or our dad. There's several of the girls out here that I know, their first sexual predator was their own mother. For Rachel Klang, hers was her own sister Rebecca. Then we've got female challengers, right? Like there's some sort of major competition. That's where Maddie Bowe was when it came to Natalie Bollinger. She wanted to make it some sort of competition. Ain't no competition. I'm not interested in dating anybody. If you date Natalie Bollinger, ain't my decision. She had sex with Alicia Bollinger. That wasn't my decision either. I'm not judging who you decide to be with. I'm judging what you're forcing on kids. And what you're forcing on adults who are held responsible for these kids. Now don't get me wrong. If Rain, who identifies as a woman, 300-pound woman with a penis, if Rain had had gender-affirming care, there's a chance that he wouldn't have raped his own sister. He wouldn't have had a penis to rape anyone with. But as we all know, it's not about busting a nut, it's about power and control. Rain wants to identify as a female so that Rain can get away with things that only females get away with. Socially, we try to pretend that women can't be sexual predators. that mothers wouldn't kill their children. Well, they're the most likely of anyone to kill their children. Women are twice as likely to kill their children over men. Twice as likely. 5 times as likely to beat their own children. But we're going to ignore that because it doesn't fit a certain agenda for a certain hate group. At this point, the LGBT community needs to take a look at LGBT itself and recognize that being a hate group, not speaking out against a hate group, especially when they're going to bear your names, if someone is going to make a group and call it white men and claim to be the voice of all white men, and you're going to believe anything that they say and take it out on all white men, you're going to pretend that every white man is the bigots within that group. How is that okay? Where do we draw the line? When this shit comes out, here's the thing is, you're talking about sexual reproduction and a child's reproductive organs. What's next? You're going to say, oh, well, if a 5-year-old consents to having sex with a 44-year-old, then it should be okay for that 44-year-old because that child consented. Gross. How do you end up with child molesters like Robert Franklin Warnick having 7 kids? He's good looking. A lot of women that I know, that I grew up with in Chapel, Nebraska, and elsewhere, but we'll talk about in specific Nicole McIntosh. Nicole McIntosh knew that Robert Franklin Warnick was a registered pedophile before she had kids with him. She wanted to be a nurse and a social worker. Her mom was a social worker and a man-hater. Man-haters should not be social workers. Nicole McIntosh, I don't know how many times she said that she thought all pedophiles should be killed. She believed that all pedophiles should be shot, and she voiced this opinion so often. And then she had kids with a pedophile. Say one thing and do another. Even as an adult, she could not affirm or follow through with any of the guidelines or rules that she had set. How can we expect a 5-year-old to do that, especially when it is lifelong and terminal? Maybe in the future they'll have some machine that can genetically recombine your parts, but we don't have that now. And when it comes to important parts, you think maybe we could, well, maybe a soldier who got his fucking arm blown off, maybe we could, I don't know, do that with their arms. How about a child who's born and has a stunted growth in an arm because it was broken during childbirth? There was a girl I went to school with when I was younger, and she had a baby arm. I want to say it was probably 3rd or 4th grade, and she had one good arm and one baby arm. Why did she have a baby arm? Because her arm was broken when she was coming out of the womb. And you think that it's horrible being ostracized and being picked on as a woman? Try being a man. half the population are men, half the population are women. Get over yourself. If we're not going to do a goddamn thing about children who are being raped, molested, beaten, and killed by their own mothers, and that is a far more likely situation than any other, we need to focus on holding mothers responsible, not allowing them to hide behind their children when they commit crimes, not allowing Rose M. Kelly to hide behind Natalie and Alicia when she commits crimes. Ted Bollinger, he needs to not be allowed or able to hide behind his children. Because what has that allowed him to do? It's allowed him to victimize many more people than just Natalie Marie Bollinger. You goddamn right I speak up. You want to shut me up, you're going to have to put me in the ground, motherfuckers. Before I will be okay with any child being mutilated genitalia, having their genitalia mutilated, before I will ever consider anything like that, I want you to consider this. I don't want my penis. I'm not interested in a vagina. I don't want to have sex. I don't want to give men an open opportunity. Or women. I don't want any parts down there. I want just a urethra. Just something to pee out of. That's it. Can I have that? If I don't have a penis, can't nobody pretend like I tried to fuck them with it. Can't nobody pretend that my motivations are because of sex, because that's you perverts pushing that shit on me. Even as a grown goddamn adult, you seriously think that I am going to say, oh, well, yeah, it's okay to do that to 5-year-olds? Go fuck yourselves, you pieces of shit. Most of my predators as a child, most of my sexual predators anyway, were men. As an adult, most of them were women. Women who couldn't take no for an answer. Women who retaliated when I said no. When they didn't get what they wanted right when they wanted it. When I wouldn't have sex with them when they're drunk. You think life sucks when you have sex with a drunk woman and she runs around and starts talking shit on you? Holy hell, she'll do far worse if you don't fuck her, for Christ's sake. How many times did Crystal Beauchamp assault me? And what was it over? She assaulted me because when she was drunk, I wouldn't have sex with her. When you escort a woman home and she's got fucking vomit on her face from stopping and making a couple of visits to the bushes, when she grabs a hold of your head to give you a kiss, obviously that's not something you're interested in. Meanwhile, we got to deal with all of these fucked up goddamn dynamics. A 5-year-old's got no fucking goddamn clue about any of it yet. Hell, an 18-year-old doesn't know shit about it yet. Holy fuck. "18-year-olds are clueless to the ways of the world. And the more sheltered you are with them, the more you try to hide them from the world, and more importantly, hide the world from them, the less prepared they're going to be to go out into the world.